Scene script. Have you ever pondered on the question, do we truly have control over who we become? It's a thought that can stir up a whirlwind of contemplation, isn't it? This question, my friends, brushes the surface of a philosophical doctrine known as existentialism. Existentialism is a school of thought that emphasizes the existence of the individual as a free and responsible agent, determining their own development through acts of the will. It's a mouthful, I know, but let's break it down. Imagine yourself as an artist, and your life is the canvas. Existentialism posits that you, the artist, have complete freedom to paint this canvas however you wish. No predetermined guidelines, no set patterns or shapes, just you and your choices. You are the author of your life story, and every decision you make is a stroke of your brush, shaping your identity, defining who you become. But here's the catch. With this freedom comes an immense responsibility. Every choice you make, no matter how insignificant it may seem, contributes to the artwork that is your life. Every decision, every action, every hesitation or leap of faith, it's all on you. It's a daunting thought, isn't it? But it's also incredibly empowering. Existentialism emphasizes that we are not just passive entities, swept along by the current of life. Instead, we are active participants, steering our own course. We are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to them. And it's in this response, in the choices we make, that our true identity takes shape. Now, this doesn't mean that existentialists dismiss the influence of external factors on our lives. Rather, they argue that while these factors may set the stage, it's our actions that determine the play. The existentialists argue that we are the sum total of our choices, and we alone bear the responsibility of these choices. So do we truly have control over who we become? The existentialists would say emphatically, yes. Consider, for a moment, the story of a man named Alex. A common name for an uncommon man. Alex wasn't born into wealth or prestige. He was an ordinary man, living in an ordinary world. Yet he was faced with an extraordinary decision that would forever change his life. Alex worked as a mailman in a small town. His life was a sequence of comfortable routines, predictable as the sunrise. But one day, he stumbled upon an opportunity. He found an envelope in his mailbag, filled to the brim with money. No address, no name, just a small fortune that could turn his life around. Alex was presented with a choice, a crossroad of sorts. He could keep the money and change his life overnight. He could leave his job, travel the world, buy a house, live the life he'd always dreamed of. Or he could turn the money into the police, sticking to his morals, his sense of right and wrong. This choice wasn't just about the money. It was about who Alex wanted to be. It was about his identity. Alex spent sleepless nights wrestling with his decision. He thought about his humble life, the monotony of his job, the dreams he'd put on hold. The money could be his ticket out of this ordinary life. But then again, he thought about his principles, his belief in honesty, his respect for the law. Walking away with the money would mean betraying everything he stood for. This internal struggle brought Alex face to face with his true self. It wasn't about what others would think or do in his place. It wasn't about societal norms or expectations. It was about Alex, his choices, his responsibility, his identity. Choosing to keep the money would mean embracing a life of luxury, but at the cost of his principles. Choosing to turn in the money would mean sticking to his morals, but at the cost of his dreams. It was a choice between his desires and his values, between who he wanted to be and who he was. After days of contemplation, Alex made his decision. He chose to turn in the money, not because it was the easy choice, but because it was the choice that resonated with his core values. It was a choice that reflected his identity. He chose integrity over wealth, principles over pleasure, authenticity over pretense. Alex's story is a testament to the power of choice in shaping our identity. His choice wasn't dictated by his circumstances, but by his values. He chose to be true to himself, to his principles, to his identity. In the end, it was Alex's choice that defined his identity, not his circumstances or the expectations of others. His story reminds us that at the crossroads of life, it's our choices that ultimately define who we are. Every single day, we are faced with choices, big and small. Choices, they're everywhere. From the moment we wake up to the moment we lay our heads down to sleep. What to wear, what to eat, what route to take to work, which book to read. These seemingly insignificant choices, they're like drops in the vast ocean of our lives. But let's think about it. Have you ever considered how these tiny, everyday decisions, these little drops, can ripple out, shaping the contours of your life, your identity? You see, every choice we make, no matter how small, is a stroke on the canvas of our existence. A choice of words can mend a broken relationship or sever a strong bond. A choice of path can lead you to a serendipitous encounter or a missed opportunity. This is where the concept of the butterfly effect comes into play. It's a theory from chaos science that suggests that the flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil can set off a cascade of atmospheric events that, over time, can cause a tornado in Texas. Now, we're not talking about weather patterns here, but the principle is the same. A seemingly insignificant decision, like the butterfly's flap, can set off a chain reaction in our lives, leading to outcomes we could never have predicted. The power of choice, then, is not just in the grand decisions we make. Where to go to university, whom to marry, which career to pursue. Yes, these are important, but the power of choice is also in the seemingly mundane, the everyday, the routine. So, the next time you're faced with a choice, no matter how trivial it seems, remember the butterfly. Remember that every decision you make, every action you take, is a step on the journey of defining who you are. In this dance of existence, every step, every move, every decision counts. It's in the choosing that we create, that we shape our own identities. It's not just the big decisions, but also the small daily choices that shape who we are. With great freedom of choice comes great responsibility. These words echo in our minds as we delve deeper into the realm of existentialism. It's not just about the liberty to choose, but also about the weight of responsibility that comes along with it. Now, imagine a scale, balanced perfectly. On one side, we have the freedom to make our own choices, to carve our own path, to write our own story. On the other side, we have the responsibility that comes with it. It's not just about deciding what to do, but also about accepting the consequences of those decisions. The scale of choice and responsibility is always striving for equilibrium. This responsibility can sometimes feel like a burden. It can weigh us down, make us question our decisions, perhaps even lead us to regret. But remember, it's this very weight that gives our choices meaning. It's this very weight that turns our decisions into actions, our actions into experiences, and our experiences into the essence of who we are. We can't have one without the other. Freedom of choice without responsibility is like a ship without a compass, sailing aimlessly in the vast ocean. Responsibility without the freedom of choice is like a bird caged, its wings clipped, yearning to fly. Making choices involves taking responsibility, not just for the decision itself, but also for the ripple effects it creates. Every choice we make, every path we take, has consequences, and it's in accepting these consequences that we fully embrace the weight of our responsibility. This weight, this responsibility, is not something to dread or shy away from. Instead, it's something to embrace, to learn from, to grow with. It's what makes our choices matter. It's what gives our life purpose. As existentialists, we don't just bear this weight, we carry it with pride. We understand that our choices define us, that our decisions shape our identity. So let's not forget, we are not just free to make our own choices, we are condemned to do so. The weight of responsibility is not a burden, but a privilege, a testament to our freedom, and a defining feature of our existence. So, where does this leave us? We've journeyed through the existential question, the story of choice, the power of that choice, and the weight of responsibility. We've seen how existentialism is not a bleak philosophy of despair, but rather a call to action, a call to embrace our freedom and shape our own identity. It's about understanding that every choice we make, every action we take, is a brushstroke on the canvas of our life. Each decision, each path taken, each responsibility shouldered, is an integral part of the masterpiece we are creating. We are not simply tossed about by the whims of fate or the dictates of society. We are the architects of our own identity. In the end, Existentialism empowers us with the realization that we are the masters of our own destiny. It's our choices that define us, not our circumstances.